Well, when we were close to fainting, our professor gave us some water to drink, so I think they're quite nice. I fit right in. There's a vocal few who look at everything like a competition, but I appreciate being around dedicated people. So you like the grind mentality? No. No, not really. I believe in hard work, not working yourself into an early grave. Being dedicated to hard work doesn't necessarily mean they're on the 24/7 grind. I see. This time he doesn't even bother trying to make it look like he's writing something, instead randomly scribbling across the paper. Got anything to do later today? Studying. Fun, I've got some essays to grade. On what? A class of sophomores wrote on the bystander effect, so it'll all start sounding the same after the third paper. Some will probably say, this could never happen to me, or it's ridiculous how people just stand there and do nothing, to which I'll give them a 0. Understand what you're talking about, and then form an opinion, or better yet, don't turn in a half-assed paper. He sighs and looks back at his notepad. Well, I think I'm done for today. Would you like to see what I've written? Sure, not really. Sure. Sure, why not? So enthusiastic. Here you go. To do grade essays, find 3 academic sources, trivia night, edit syllabus. It's interesting. Thanks. He stands and escorts me 4 feet to Singh's desk. Alright, have a good rest of the night. Thanks. I can't figure out if that helped me or not. Hell, I can't figure out what even happened. Singh walks back to his desk from another room with a water bottle. Are you feeling better now? Somewhat. Oh, hi Miko. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? I'll drive you home. How about that? That would be great. Thank you. I'm enjoying the game so far. We step into the SWAT car and he starts driving. I look at my phone some, but I've always hated silence. We can either continue the silence or break it with a question. I want to follow this lead. So, do you have any idea why we were attacked yet? We'll have a clearer idea once we narrow down the suspects. Got any plans for tonight? Yeah, I have a study session with some friends. Where? Business school. We book a lounge area every week so we can study. Sounds fun. How many people will be there? There's usually about 5 of us. Any classes or teachers still around at that time? Scoping it out? Just wondering how routine your schedule is. There's an accountancy class a couple of doors down and an entrepreneurship class a few more doors down. If anything seems off, we'll be fine. Alright. You said you worked a homicide case before, didn't you? How long was that case open? Barely 32 hours. It was clear the ex-boyfriend was jealous of the victim's new boyfriend, so he went to her apartment and stabbed her with her own kitchen knife. Finding him took longer than figuring out how he did it. It took us less than 2 days, that's all. Alright. Did you go to school here? No, I didn't. Oh. I sort of assumed he was one of those people who graduated and never left. He turns down the road from my apartment. I suddenly get somewhat embarrassed by pulling up in a police car. Alright, have fun at your study session. Do you know what a study session is? Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago I was in college. Take care. I step out and walked up to my building. Let's get started. Maria, you can take the first part of chapter 10 and Dennis can take the second half. Riley, I think you already started on chapter 8, right? You can finish that up. Yeah, I didn't get very far, but I'll finish it. I'll take chapter 9. You can start chapter 11, Adrian. Did she say the first part of chapter 10 ends at 10.6 or 10.7, I think. Sounds good. Adrian? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Are you sure? Yeah, it's fine. I open up my textbook and get out my notes. My last actually good notes are from last week. Guess I'll start from where I left off. It's an entire chapter on working with influencers for brand deals. By the definition here, I'm pretty sure half the campus would count as an influencer. Let's see, the example given is of an athletic company contacting influencers who run fitness accounts specifically for leg workouts. They thought their target market would be men, but most of the influencers were women. There's a few case studies here of how well the sponsor posted for the company. One of the case studies features a competitive swimmer. Ooh. Stuck on something? I'm going to take a break. How? Adrian. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Are you feeling all right, or do you need to sit down? I don't know. He places a hand on my arm and leads me to a bench in the hallway. Do you want to talk about it? Not really. You know, the other walked in, grabbed a chair, and pulled it over to the corner by the bookshelf. He looked back at the door and then pushed one of the ceiling tiles up and pulled a packet of ramen noodles out. What? Joseph walked over to the table and started eating. We stared at him and he said, "You can have the chicken-flavored one that's left." Is this supposed to make me feel better? Is it working? Okay, so he has a stash of ramen in the ceiling. Why? Hell if I know. I guess he didn't want anyone besides the rats eating it. Did you take the chicken-flavored ramen? No. Dr. Ben came in afterwards, but we didn't say anything. Solidarity, huh? Any secret safe with me? I'm feeling better now, thank you. Anytime. I can do some of your chapter if that'd make it easier. Mog's paw face says I came in at a strange place. Yes. We're doing a murder mystery. Talking about ramen in the ceiling. We walk back into the classroom and get back to work. Home sweet home. I can't lock the door fast enough. Damn it, why does this teacher want a physical copy of my paper? What's the point of submitting it online if I have to print it out and submit it too? Yeah, can't the professor print it out if they want it? I don't know. I don't have time to print it on campus in the morning, and I definitely won't have the will to wake up earlier. I could use Clara's printer, but I don't want them complaining about me using their stuff. They already talk so badly about their previous roommate who used too much toilet paper. I'll be real quick. I'm right by the main office. It'll take me like a minute tops to walk to the main building and get to the computer lab. It's not a risk, right? I shouldn't test my luck. I'll just set my alarm a little earlier and go to bed earlier. It'll be fine. It's just one paper anyway. I already submitted it online. Miko says my last roommate definitely did not talk badly about her previous roommate who used too much toilet paper. I'll write what you know. I know it well. Well, I barely did anything today, and yet it feels like it dragged on forever. That girl, though, was she their friend or something, or just a teammate? Maybe I can look her up on the school's website. I search around for the swim team's page. The first thing that comes up is the swim club. There's a page for photos of events. After scrolling back a few months, I find her. Natasha. She's standing with the girl who tried to run. They're smiling. Natasha Deirdrio and Rebecca Lai. Rebecca was a nursing major, sophomore year. I'm able to find the other two girls in different photos. They drove to some swimming competition in Atlanta, had a picnic at the park in town, hosted a food charity drive last fall. All for what? In a few days, they'll be put in their final resting places, without a degree, without getting married, without a future. And I'm sitting here wallowing in self-pity. I look at the pictures a few moments longer before closing my laptop and flopping into bed. So we've started doing a bit of digging online. Oh, the lighting's changed. I like that. You can see the light pouring in more at the left-hand side. It's been over 24 hours since the murders, and they still haven't found the guy. Don't they say the first 48 hours is the most vital time? Yes, Arctic Fox did a great job on these backgrounds. Look at this. Even just like the texture on the floors and everything, and the fur in the rug, and little motes of dust in the sunlight. Oh, I'm gonna save because it's been a while. Maybe I'll be fine. Ugh, I don't see how you survived accounting. It's not that bad once you sit down and work through it. Don't we have software that can do all this stuff already? Be glad you don't have to take any programming classes. You'd be a dropout on the first day. Not true. He gives me a pouty face before taking another bite from his spring roll. So, how are things? I'm still here. And you'll stay here. They'll find the guy, don't worry. Just don't go out all at night, you'll be fine. Everyone keeps saying that, but you forget it gets dark before 5 now. Maybe you should get a gym buddy to go with you. I'd rather use the tiny gym in my apartment. Does it have a hot tub? I can't look at pools the same again. A small group of campus and city police walk in the mess hall. It's a wide open space, so it's not hard to notice them since they stick out like sore thumbs. 1 or 2 campus police officers walking around is a normal occurrence. Sometimes they'll even bring their sniffing dogs on walks, but it's obvious these guys are here with a purpose. Are they here for me? Did they find the killer and are coming to tell me about it, or is it something else? As expected, they meander through the cafeteria tables until they come out to ours, but my stomach sinks as they have their eyes on Edwin rather than me. Are you Edwin Anderson? Yes, what are you here for? We have a few questions to ask you in regards to the death of 4 university students 2 nights ago. Will you come with us? What for? Are you doing searches into all of her friends? We just have a few questions for you and some of your fraternity friends. Please come with us to the precinct and hand over your knife before we get going. Knife? I don't have it on me right now. It doesn't exactly look good for students to bring knives in the classroom. But I'll go with you to the precinct. Edwin. Don't worry, I'll be done in no time. They'll realize I didn't do it. I'm coming with you. You can't accompany him in the interrogation room. I know, I'll just wait in the lobby. The officers look at each other. The oldest looking one just shrugs. All right, as long as you're not just skipping class. The officers waste no time in separating us and escorting him into the interrogation room. They wanted his knife. I didn't even know he carried one. Was that why he was brought in for questioning? A knife? How could they trace that back to him? I don't know how I expected a police station lobby to look on a regular weekday, but it's full of people. There's a lot more people now than there were at 8 a.m. Officers and detainees and regular civilians are walking in and out, going to the front desk and to offices and such. I never considered this place to be a public place. It's one of those buildings I probably could have gone my whole life without ever going into. Then again, there's a lot of buildings on campus I have never thought about going in freshman year. I like how she peeks inside. Hello? Fawn peers around a corner and starts sliding my way as if trying to be covert or something. You look so lonely over here. They should give you a desk by now. I really don't want to become that frequent a guest here. Maybe it'll lead to good things. There was this one murder case in the summer in '89 in New Hampshire where a husband was found dead and through it the wife found out he was cheating on her. Go on. So she was able to move on without too many regrets. She bonded with her neighbor over it and they got married. I think a lot of people would be doubly traumatized from that, but to each their own, I guess. There's some pretty interesting turns in a lot of cases I've looked at. Reality is absolutely stranger than fiction. Oh yes, if you read true crime podcasts, that definitely starts to come out fairly quickly. Who knows, maybe a rival team wanted less competition, or an angry teacher couldn't stand dealing with them anymore. I really hope it wasn't any of my teachers. Maybe I should change the subject. You said you do unsolved crime too, right? Like what? Oh, it's a wide bag. I've covered strange disappearances, weird ransom notes, odd causes of death, paranormal sightings. What's the weirdest, non-murder one? I can't just pick one. There's so many weird ones for different reasons. There was one man who was found bleeding to death in his locked hotel room after making a series of strange phone calls. Or a hiking group running away from their tent in the dead of night in freezing weather without protection and all dying. Mogspaw Face says, are these people college-age detectives? We know that the main detective is, he is a graduate alumni, from a different college. I'm not sure if they've confirmed what all their ages are, but they seem to be more or less around the same age, but there have been no numbers thrown so far as I can tell. And there's are some non-morbid ones too, like a guy hijacking a plane and asking for millions before parachuting off, or a boy going missing at a picnic and the family finding another boy and claiming him as their own, and decades later a DNA test revealed that it wasn't their boy. Okay, so Miko says they're around Sing's 26, Edwin is 22, Adrian is 22, I think, and Natasha is 21. Fawn is 24, I think. Okay, so around that age group. I mostly cover cases that are in America, since those are the easiest to find information on in English, but there's strange cases from all across the world. Plus, there's no shortage of unsolved cases. Why is that? Well, the majority of cases that have enough evidence go unsolved due to police incompetence. Crime scenes get contaminated, investigators don't talk to all the suspects or witnesses, evidence gets lost or mishandled. There's a lot of cases that just don't have enough evidence to proceed anywhere, nor witnesses to figure out where to go next. But there's a lot of cases where the evidence and witnesses were there. Tons of old cases that couldn't have been solved years ago are able to be cleared now thanks to DNA and fingerprinting though. But despite that, the clearance rate, the rate for crimes to be marked as solved essentially, have been steadily decreasing the past few decades to the point where some cities don't solve even half of their reported crimes. That's not good. Our country has a higher than average clearance rate though, and I'm going to make sure this doesn't go unsolved. Thank you. Plus, there's a lot of media biting at the bits for more info, and potential donors are worried too. There's a lot riding on it. And finding the right person who did it, I suppose. A group of officers starts walking from the hallway they took Edwin down. Natasha walks down the hallway with them and towards the entrance. Maybe now I'd be able to talk to her longer. Have you learned anything more about her? Yeah, her name's Natasha and she was a swimmer on their swim team but left a month ago. John says Fawn is the best character. I would say yes, like there's several characters I really like in this game, but Fawn is one of the top. She peeked in the frame there at the beginning of this conversation and made me laugh, so she's good in my book. If a character can make me laugh, that's a good sign. Yeah, her name's Natasha, and she was a swimmer on their team but left a month ago. She's a suspect, so be careful. I turned back towards Natasha. She's already walking out the door. But I did tell Edwin I'd wait on him. Let's keep our promise. No, I should wait for Edwin. I told him I'd wait on him, so I will. Even if that means sitting here for another hour. So, who's this guy you were with? Oh, Edwin? He's a classmate. We were eating lunch together. She tilts her head slightly and squints at the ground. Do you know him? No, I can't say I do. He's not a swimmer, is he? Definitely not. Does he belong to a fraternity? Yeah, why? That might be it. What do you mean? I'm gonna go look at some files, okay? Just sit tight. Does she recognize him? Fawn leaves in a hurry, darting from desk to desk looking for something before she's out of sight. Guess there's nothing to do but wait here. Well, at least I can get some homework done. There we go, all my homework done for the next couple of days. It's been a while. Aren't they done grilling Edwin? It's only been 25 minutes? Ah, Adrian, you know you don't have to come back by here every other day, right? I'm waiting on someone. Oh right, the officers did mention something about you coming with the detainee. He's your classmate, right? Yes. Just a classmate, or... I think we'll go with one. Just a classmate. Oh, I see. Do you know if he's ever been in a relationship before? I haven't thought about it in years, but I think when we first met he was dating a girl. They must have broken up a short time after though, because they stopped doing everything together and then stopped being around each other altogether. I see. Do you remember her name? Hannah? Sarah? I can't remember. She was blonde, straight hair, wanted to make her own clothing line or something. Why is he being interrogated in the first place? Is it just because we're friends? You'll hear it from him when we release him, so... We've identified the murder weapon, which has severely reduced the number of suspects we have. And Edwin's one of them? What for? They mentioned something of how would that severely reduce the potential suspects? Maybe it's like 12 Angry Men, like the black and white film where the murder weapon was a very, very specific knife. That film's so good, 12 Angry Men, the black and white version. The majority of the film is all done in one room, but it's so clever. The murder weapon was a knife. He's one of the few people who have that specific knife. Aha! Please stop being so vague. But I digress. I did have a few more questions for you. Pertaining to him. Yes. How long have you known him? Mog's Pate says it was a really good film. I watched it over 20 years ago though. Yeah, I agree. I need to rewatch it. There's so many good films I need to revisit. How long have you known him? About 2 years. We might have had classes together before that, but I never actually talked to him until my sophomore year. I guess you could say we were acquaintances for the rest of the semester and eventually became friends. Is he currently employed anywhere? This cat is hella loud, Kate. What? Screaming over the text. Oh, sorry. Should I remove Cat Tusky? Nico says she's being mean, don't listen. Well, we'll leave Cat Tusky up there for now then. Kitty is in the corner, so we're fine. Is he currently employed anywhere? What I want to know is how did they find out he had a knife? And that specific knife? Like who said, how did they find out? A lot of questions here. He has an internship at a law firm in town. He doesn't talk much about it though. Oh, we'll find out. Which law firm? I don't remember exactly. It was some generic named law firm. Johnson? Jones? Jonesbury? No, I don't think so. What kind of activities does he do? Any kind of sports, clubs? He sometimes goes to parties. I don't think he does anything sports related besides the business school's ultimate frisbee team. We're both in the marketing club. Do you know where he was on that night? Aren't these all questions he should have asked Edwin? Unless he's trying to match up our answers? I don't, but he was probably doing something at the frat house he's pledged to. Well, hopefully Edwin did not lie, so that our stories parallel each other. So do you know about his knife? No, the first I'd heard of it was this morning. He pledged as a freshman, so I suppose it's not really something that'd come up in day-to-day conversation. You see, his fraternity is one of the oldest on campus and most prestigious. Lots of lawyers and CEOs and stuff come out of it. As a gift for achieving such an honor of being inducted, the fraternity gives its new pledgers a commemorative knife. I've kind of heard of the situation, but I have heard of that, the idea of being given a commemorative knife instead of a commemorative coin for achieving something. It's not extremely special. It looks more like a decorative Swiss Army knife than anything, and it isn't meant to be used in a fight. But what sets it apart is that it's serrated. It's got teeth. Serrated, you mean it has a jagged edge? Yes, exactly. It has a specific cut to it, so we were able to narrow it down to be the most likely culprit. Don't worry, we'll release him soon. We'll have to question all of his fraternity brothers as well, after all. Do you know any other members of his fraternity? No, not specifically. I might have classes with some of the other members, but I don't know them. It's alright. Is there anything else I can help with? You've already been a big help. I'm just worried. It feels like it's taking us forever to close this. Are you fine with me talking about the crime scene? I just nod my head. The security camera showed the figure was covered head to toe. There's no security cameras in the locker room nor the adjoining room, so we can't fully tell when they went to the locker room. Stabbing someone is, well, violent and causes a thrusting motion forward. Typically, the assailant's hand slips forward, causing them to cut themselves. You said you think they were wearing gloves. They were over 10 stab wounds total in the bodies, and we couldn't find any blood from a fifth person, so this seems likely. One thing to note though, there was some sort of fight with the first victim, and he shows more defensive wounds and more stab marks than the girls. Which would mean maybe... Wait, let me reread this. More defensive wounds and more stab marks. Well, we know the person wore gloves. I don't think they changed their gloves. There wasn't much time. And when did the changeover happen? So I think the top one, because that means that they didn't cut themselves when they performed the stabbing motion, which is why we cannot identify blood from them. The person wore thick gloves so they didn't tear as much? That could be a possibility. They were murdered by a mole Santa. We couldn't find any other unidentified DNA at the scene, though we most likely wouldn't get hit in CODIS. CODIS is the combined DNA from criminals and missing persons cases, by the way. Almost all of the people here are students or professors. Most won't have a criminal record. Ah, we're learning things. I'm sorry for bringing this all up at once. Would it be possible for me to make it up to you over coffee or a hot chocolate later? A cup of coffee or hot chocolate later? That doesn't exactly sound like the first thing you'd pick when trying to make up to a stranger. That'd be lovely, actually. I'm not much of a hot chocolate person, but this weather is perfect for it. Maybe I'll barrage you with some questions of my own. Haha, I'll look forward to it then. How about tomorrow afternoon around 3? Sure. Great, I'll go see if Edwin is done being questioned for now. Surely they must be almost done with him if Detective Singh came out here to talk to me. I feel like it's been hours since we had lunch and we didn't get to finish it. Maybe I can convince Edwin to get a snack with me when he comes out. This is making me hungry for hot chocolate. or thirsty for hot chocolate. Two officers walk out from the hallway and immediately look the other way, pretending they don't see me sitting here. That's very suspicious. Are they pitying me? Are they disappointed in me? Edwin. He's released for now. We'll call if we have any more questions. It's going to get dark in an hour. Please get back to your apartment before then. Edwin looks somewhat distraught. What did they ask him? Edwin. Come on, let's get out of this miserable place. I lead him down the street, guiding the way. He looks lost in thought. Thank you for waiting on me. It's no problem. See, it's good we waited. You were only being questioned because of me. I had to at least be there. Detective Sai, he came out and questioned you, didn't he? Yeah, he had a few questions for me. Like what? Everything about you, the fraternity. He asked you all that after making me sit there for 2 hours telling me the same stuff? I mean, it's to help the investigation. And he did offer. I stopped myself, but it's too late. Offer? Offer what? To take me to get coffee tomorrow. And you said yes? I did. Have fun. Thanks. He palms the back of his head and keeps his eyes forward as we walk. I didn't expect this to be so awkward. Let's get you home safely. It is awkward, Naya. Also, welcome to the stream, Naya. I hope you're having a relaxing weekend. Thank you. He hails a cab for us. We don't talk much during the ride besides some small talk. I say goodbye and watch as the cab eases down the street before going to my apartment. What a long day yesterday. Edwin looked so dismayed yesterday when I told him about the coffee meetup. Was the interrogation that bad, or... I need to get going before I'm late to meet up with Singh. I walk up to the coffee shop Singh told me about. It's one I haven't been in and must be more popular with the locals than the students. Inside it looks like a mishmash of hipsters, grad students, and young parents. I like the design. It's got bare brickwork in the background. I always like that. Not exactly the crowd I expected a cop to hang around, but to each their own. Maybe he only picked this place because he thought I'd like it. I find a seat and wait. I'm introverted. Let's look at the menu. I look up at the menu. At first I was expecting a regular coffee shop menu. Miku says, I forget I patched out a small graphical bug here. Where? I don't see it. It's patched out here, right? If it wasn't, I missed it. I looked at the menu. At first I was expecting a regular coffee shop menu, but I'm greeted with some sort of fantasy menu. Instead of decaf, we had dragon's grinds. Rather than lattes, we had fairy dust. Some of the more extravagant items had even more out there names. Ah, Adrian. Sorry about that, I got stuck in traffic. It's alright, I just got here. That's a relief. Have you ordered? Not yet. Would you like me to order for you? Sure. Sure, just don't order me anything too strong. Don't worry, I've got just the idea. Singh leaves to the counter and returns swiftly. How has your day been? I don't have the heart to tell him I mostly slept in this morning. It was alright. Have you had a busy morning? Yes, there was a traffic accident on Taylor Road right at 7 a.m. that really caused some problems for the buses. That's not typically my job, but I live down that way, so I had to stop by. What exactly is your job? Detective work. That typically ends up with me doing paperwork since there's not a lot of crimes that need a detailed analysis here. Hit and runs, robberies, public disturbances, kids drinking too much and just being a nuisance. That's the vast majority of my load. And then we have to share classes with the university police. So that means what he means is he sits on his ass all day. There's not a lot of work to go around, but in my line of work that's for the best, right? Yeah. Are you from around here? Close. I grew up about an hour away. Did you choose to come here? Sort of. My parents wanted me to come here and I didn't have any objections. The business school looked pretty good, so I was content. Yeah, I've grown to like this place. Where are you from? I actually grew up not too far from here, just a couple hours away. I didn't go to school here, though. What made you come here, then? I didn't choose to. It was an assignment. He turns his gaze towards the counter. Let's be nosy. Assignment? I used to work in my hometown. After a year, I got moved here. Again, he avoids eye contact. My college wasn't as nice as this when I was studying criminal justice. I mean, it did its job, but I don't know, it was one of those things you don't think about until you see it. I've been advised to go out of state to get my degree, somewhere big where I'd meet different people. I don't fully regret it, but there were definitely some downsides to it. Of course, I probably would have been better off if I'd tried to make friends. I went to parties sometimes, but I rarely socialized at them. Are you more of a party person? Not really. Yeah, freshman year I'd go to one almost every week, but sophomore year I could barely go to one a month. I think it's good, though, to go to a few while you still can. It's a lot harder to have fun at a party when you've got work to do. I didn't know you were old enough to give me sage advice. Eventually you have to take sage advice from someone younger than you. It gets a bit silly when some of the other cops ask for marriage or newborn advice. I don't want to think about that. Now that he mentions it, though, he's pretty young for a detective. Did you graduate early? The opposite. It took me an extra semester to graduate because I failed a couple classes in my first year. What made you want to become a cop? It's more of wanting to be a detective, really. I'd rather be investigating than responding to calls or doing paperwork. It's kind of silly, really. When I was in grade school, we had this whodunit project that was supposed to help us think critically. I guess I never grew out of it. Fitting all of the pieces together can be really rewarding, even though sometimes it isn't enough. In the end, I'm just one link in the criminal justice chain. The testimonies I get have to be presented in court, and the evidence I find have to be processed by people before being presented to a jury, who then have to make a verdict. Cases in the real world are never black and white. There's so many people involved in the process Still, I can't help but be amazed that cases get closed at all. What does Fawn think about that? She definitely sees things differently. She's able to see a more overall view of cases long after they've been investigated, rather than a detailed minute-by-minute approach. It's a lot easier to see the flaws in detective work when you... Accidentally right-clicked. It's a lot easier to see the flaws in detective work when you have hindsight and all the known places in front of you. Granted, most of the cases she covers have shoddy detective work, but it's because they were handled poorly that she covers them. They wouldn't be as interesting or frustrating if they had been handled properly, nor would they be unsolved, most likely. Do you see the catch-22 here? I nod my head. It's like that old expression, the worst experiences become the best stories to tell after they happen. Our order arrives on the counter and he walks over to get it. I'm not sure what I was expecting when he asked me to meet him here, but it's kind of nice to talk to him in a more casual setting. Why did he invite me here? Interesting developments. Oh! Please wishlist us on Steam or follow our itch.io page. Thank you for playing the demo for Drops of Death, which is being developed by Crystal Gameworks. This demo has 3 different endings depending on which love interest you spend more time with, as well as a variety of scenes in between. Oh, look at the detective in the corner. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram for updates on the game, or sign up for our newsletter to get them right in your inbox. Last but not least, if you have a minute and would like to give us feedback on this demo, please fill out a very quick survey on it right here. Any input helps us a lot. Hang on, I'm gonna save here. And that was the demo of Drops of Death. I really enjoyed it. I didn't want it to end. But we did a good cliffhanger. Like, I think that was a good moment to end on. But I'm looking forward to the full game and then playing that. But yes, I didn't go through all of the different choices in the game, so if you want to see how they play out differently, you can find the game on crystalgameworks.itch.io and download the demo to play yourself. I recommend it. I had fun. I like the menu designs. So that one, luckily it kind of ended when it did, because I feel like I'm losing my voice at this point. I'm used to talking this much. I need to get back into practice by streaming. Celeste did the shine. I just programmed it. Says Miko. Yeah, shout out to everyone on the team, because I really like the design for it. And the music, the visuals, the writing. So now that we've finished the demo, let's find a channel to raid. Let me just pull up Twitch to see who I'm following who's live at the moment. And then we can do that. Also, how was the cat? Like, did the streaming lag at all as you were watching? Was Cat too distracting, or were they alright during the stream? I'll have to replay it to see, because I'm viewing it differently than you all. Let's see who's live now. Thank you all for coming to the stream. The stream seems to be choppy sometimes, but I'm doing other things also. I can hear your computer's fan. Oh dear, I think next time I'll move the microphone further away so that it isn't picked up so much. I have it angled in a way where I can, I should probably move it more towards me. Thank you for letting me know. Wobbly Python is currently live, so we're going to switch over to him. He does a lot of drawing streams. I've been on one of them at some point where he has two artists do quick 30-second drawing challenges with a program that lets you draw two artists draw on the same canvas, and you have to collaborate while the timer goes off. So we'll do that. Okay, take care and I'll see you later. Ta-ra!